Welcome back to the Capes and Tights podcast right here on capesandtights.com. I'm your host, Justin Soderberg. Once again, this episode is brought to you by our friends over at Galactic Comics and Collectibles at galacticcomicsandcollectibles.com. Moving into a new store soon, which is really exciting. But this episode, we bring back Saratoga Schaefer to the podcast, who is a New York-based author of books like Serial Killer Support Group, one of our favorites of last year, as well as upcoming books Tradwife, out February 10th, The Last Time We Drowned, out June 2nd, and 1,000 Monstrous Forms, out in September 2026. But Saratoga is here to chat Tradwife mostly, so check this episode out. But before you do, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, all those places. You can rate, review, subscribe over on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you find your podcasts, as well as you can check our YouTube channel out over on youtube.com. And as always, visit Capes and Tights for so much more. This is Saratoga Schaefer talking Tradwife, out this February. Enjoy, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me back.
Absolutely. I was looking forward to this next time chatting. But yeah, we're here. I mean, Serial Killer Support Group is in people's hands. I mean, we chatted, you know, right around that time, and it's in paperback and hardcover and so on. What's it been like? Let's start with that. How has it been for the past, year, basically?
Yeah, it's been amazing. I went into the experience because Serial Killer Support Group is my debut. So I went into it with extremely low expectations. I think that's maybe a little bit unusual. Like debuts are like, yeah, I want all the things. And I was like, we're gonna see how this goes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's surpassed any and all of my expectations, which again were low, but still it's been really awesome. It's selling really well. I'm super grateful to everyone who's read it or reviewed it or, you know, borrowed it from their library. And it's just been really exciting to see people connect with it and to see it in shelves and in stores and in readers' hands. So it's been great. And it's just been a really fantastic way to start this career officially.
Yes,
so
exactly.
It's been wonderful.
I mean, obviously, it was exciting to get your novel purchased, obviously, to get that deal, to get it on the shelves and things like that. But was it almost more exciting seeing it in more languages? Is it weird? Is it weird?
So weird. I mean, I didn't even really, there were a lot of things about the publishing process that just legitimately didn't cross my mind. I didn't really think about getting blurbs from other authors. I didn't think about hitting bestseller lists. I didn't think about movie TV options. I didn't think about translations. It just wasn't on my radar. So when some of those things started to happen, I was like, what is going on? Especially with getting all these different translations of Serial Killer Support Group and having that weird, I wish I could read this. I don't read this language. I want to see what this experience is like when it's written in Brazilian or German or whatever. And that part has just been very cool, and seeing all those different covers and all the different versions of the covers was just very exciting. So that was definitely a highlight.
I'm coming at this from a comic book side of things too, where I'm a collector of different covers of comic books. So to me, that's where that foreign editions come into play for me. I'm a huge fan of Adam Caesar's Clown in the Cornfield, huge fan. And I have the German edition, I have the French edition, and mainly because I'm crazy. But the other side of it is because the covers are just cool. Seeing how how it's not even just oh, this is a cool, in comic book variant covers, it's this is just a cool cover. We're going to make another cover by an artist. In different countries, it's how is this book going to sell to the people that live in that country and speak that language? And so that's what's kind of cool, how they interpret. And sometimes I'm like, damn it, the European edition is so much better than ours or whatever. So I want those. And I'm like, but I don't have enough space to show them all. So it's just the spines. And I'm just okay, now I'm crazy for collecting all these things. But it's just fun. It's just fun to see how, as a fan of Serial Killer Support Group, looking at the cover and then seeing what it's like in another language or another country, what they've said, this is what's going to sell to our people. And I think that's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I mean, Brazil especially went all out and made the most gruesome cover of all time, and also fulfilled one of my author dreams of having sprayed edges on something that's the edges are all blood splattered, which is very cool. But I mean, all of the covers were great. And I love that I love that some of the other overseas press liked our US cover enough to actually use that one too. So that's also like a cool little validation of like, oh, cool, they think that that cover will sell over there too.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's just been very cool to see all of that unfold.
Is it now you have to turn from like finally got my novel published to what's next? Like there's no
Yeah,
stopping. Now you can't take a break. Now you have
yeah.
to continue going. And so this is pretty cool. And when I see an author who I'm a big fan of or in their books and seeing it and then seeing the next thing, I'm always excited to read the next thing, but I'm also like excited for them. And so like seeing Tradwife be solicited and said, "Hey, this is what's going to come out," and so on and so forth. I originally called Traditional Wife, which I want to just chat about really quickly. Why the change? I mean, obviously, it's much better. Like, I'll tell you that right now. It makes more sense and everything. But just was it more like it makes more sense with the novel? It makes more sense with the lifestyle that's out there.
Yeah, so originally when I was drafting it, it was called, well, I was going back and forth between calling it traditional wife and trad wife. So I was kind of calling it both. And then when it got purchased, it was being called trad wife. And then in it being called trad wife, I was already calling it like I was already calling it trad wife, even though I was the name on the manuscript was traditional wife because it was just too much of a mouthful. And then a lot of the times when book titles change after they've been announced, it's because the publisher has kind of gotten
Yeah.
involved a little bit and they're like, hey, so sales and marketing
Hmm.
also agreed that trad wife was better than traditional wife.
Hmm.
And like I said, everybody was calling it trad wife
Yeah.
anyway. So
Anyway.
it was like, sure, we'll just lop off the last end of that first word. And it makes more sense as well from like a design standpoint.
Yes.
Traditional is a really long word.
And
So
wife
if
is
you
so
think of
smaller, so like it's like a weird
right,
lineup. Yeah.
right. So if you think about stuff like covers, it's so much nicer to have that symmetrical forward, forward, trad, wife
Yeah.
setup than to have something where it's a really long word and then a really small word. So it's just like little things like that that we maybe don't think about when we're writing the book. And then it also just sort of comes together and it was like, yeah, this is the correct decision to
This needs to be
make.
this way. Yes, exactly. Well, as a
Yeah.
I'm a designer by trade, and that's one of those things that like when they the brewery I work for, they come up and we're like, this is the name of the beer, and I'm like, geez, really? Like that has to be that long? I have to fit all of it, and like
Yeah.
it's not. And if you think about it on a label, or you're designing like a rectangle, but really what you want it to be is like the front of the can. You want the front this
Right.
to be the most important part, and so like the same thing with the book. It's like the spine, the back can be great, but the front is
Yeah.
what's most important. And so I'm like, we have a beer called The Way Life Should Be, which is the slogan for Maine, but it's like we call it internally everywhere Way Life. Like, hey, it's Way Life, Way Life. Like,
Yeah.
why don't we just call it Way Life? I know it's the slogan of Maine and it makes sense, but I'm like, Way Life would have worked so much better on the front of that can. For hours and hours and hours, I boggled my mind how I was going to fit this on the front of the can. And so
Right.
it's kind of like, it makes sense, having that short name works, and it also works that like I said, I'm going to use quotations on this lifestyle. It is a lifestyle, but it's not
Yeah.
kind of an annoying lifestyle. But yeah, so it's a traditional wife turned into trad wife. Now it's being, is this a story you've had also like when you were soliciting and trying to get out or shopping serial killer support group, or is this something you wrote afterwards?
Yeah, I wrote this after.
Okay.
The story of this getting written is actually kind of nuts. I wrote it really fast and I wrote it after I was done with what's called pass pages with Serial Killer Support Group, and that's when you do like a final read through of the whole formatted, like how it's going to look as a book manuscript, just to make sure there was
Mhm.
no additional errors and whatnot. And at that point, I had read Serial Killer Support Group like 60 times in 6 months. And I was so incredibly sick of it. I was like, I never ever want to look
Want to
at this book
finish.
again. I need something else. And at the same time, I was texting with my sister and I was saying something about trad wives, and she did not know what they were. And I was like, have you been living under a rock? And then I was explaining them to her. And in the process of this explanation, I started to actually pitch the idea for
Yeah.
trad wife to her because it just came to me. And then a week later, I started writing it.
Yeah.
I was just ready for something new, and it was extremely fun and fast to write. So that's kind of how it came about. Um, the other books I have coming out next were already written. So
Mm-hmm.
Tradwife is technically like the newest thing that I
Mm-hmm.
have coming out.
And just so anybody knows, what's your little elevator pitch for what Tradwife is?
Yeah, so Tradwife is about a Tradwife influencer who is desperate to have a baby. So she enlists the help of a creature she finds in a well on her property, and she has a very demonic, very hungry baby.
Perfect. That's an excellent explanation of what's going on. I mean, so you get this. There is this. I get frustrated. And I'm a quiet person on the internet. I'm a person who like says verbally out loud, "What the hell," but doesn't actually comment what the hell. Like I just don't want to get into it with people. I feel like my life is happier not arguing with people on the internet.
Yeah.
And so I do say that a lot, and I say that a lot now because of the way that social media is, and whether it's the current political landscape that's out there, or just like influencers or things like that. And we had this conversation in my office about the idea of a trad wife, and it was funny. Like I have an office that has like 3 men in it and 3 women in it, and it's a very equal, like very split down the middle. And all the women are like, why would you want that lifestyle? Someone was like, why would you like what is so appealing to this lifestyle? And I'm like, and then I started going further into it, and I'm like, how many people out there do you think, Saratoga, that are like these trad wife lifestyle that after they turn the camera off live the thing that they're doing on the internet, right? Like how many of the people are just doing it because they know it fits in to what the influencer landscape is right now? And that's just not even trad wife. You're talking any of the influencers that are out there, the people that
Yeah.
are anti seed oils or anti this or that, what percentage of them are like, cool, I'm going to go use my olive oil or canola oil in the kitchen now that I'm off the camera. Like, how many percentage do you think that are really actually into this thing or just do it for social media influencing?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the whole question, isn't it? It's how many people are essentially buying what they're selling and how many people are simply selling something.
Mm-hmm.
I think that whole question of why is somebody in this lifestyle? Why is someone drawn to this? Was also a question I had and is kind of why I wrote this book. I really wanted to get into the head of somebody who would be attracted to this lifestyle, who would be living this lifestyle, and why. Why was she drawn to this to
Mm-hmm.
begin with? What is she getting out of it? Is she happy in it? And that's kind of the impetus of the whole book. And Camille, who's the main character, who's our trad wife trying to get
Yeah.
pregnant, she has a huge arc because of that, and that exploration of like her place in her community, the community itself, and how she relates to the
Mm-hmm.
community. And I think for me personally, for the trad wife influencer aspect of it, from what I can see, I think two things are kind of going on. And obviously, there's a big spectrum, and people fall anywhere in between this spectrum. So this isn't like a blanket
Mm-hmm.
statement. But something I've noticed is that those larger accounts, the larger tradwife accounts who have like millions of followers and they're already monetized and they have lots of eyes on them, those are the ones that are selling you something. And they're
Mm-hmm.
not subtle about it. It's
No.
like, oh, here's my amazing new special bamboo
Mm-hmm.
dish rack. It's $458, but you can get a discount using my name or whatever. Link in bio. So,
Yeah.
like, those accounts are selling you something. Whether or not those accounts really live that lifestyle or not, I think is questionable. It's up in the air. I'm sure some do. I'm sure some don't. I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
some do a little bit of both. I think there's also very much the question of generational wealth and
Yeah.
who is already wealthy enough to be able to live like that in a way that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the smaller accounts who are not quite at that level, but maybe want to. Camille falls into one of those
Yeah.
categories. And those accounts, I think, are more often actually trying to live that lifestyle, or that's their maybe ultimate goal. And they have these bigger accounts on kind of like a pedestal. And they're a little bit brainwashed
Mm-hmm.
because social media is not real. And I think they take some of these things that the larger accounts say and do as gospel. And
Mm-hmm.
that's maybe not, realistic or relevant to their specific life. And same thing there. I think some of them are totally bought in. Some of them are maybe like, ooh, this is a way that I can get like Instagram famous.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's very interesting. And it's like this whole other social landscape. And there's just a lot of layers to it. And I could have probably written like 14 books about this, but I
Yeah.
narrowed it down to one.
Yes. And I mean, and you bring up in this novel that not only is it trying to get the followers and make the followers happy, but it never even dawned on me the idea that these people need also affirmation from their fellow people that are on the internet doing what they're doing. Like you don't fit in until, if you're in the health or like trying to get people to stop eating seed oils, there's specific people that if you can get them to share your video or comment, you are made. And that never thought about it to me until the time when I read this book. I was like, oh yeah, Camille's also looking for the affirmation from other trad wife influencers to like her, because the second she's in, she's going to go even further in the landscape of it. And I just like, oh, that's crazy. So there's this, you could have written a horror novel that was literally just about that. Like forget the
Yeah.
supernatural part of this, like literally the horrors of being an influencer in general, trad wife, whatever other influencer out there, is a horrifying novel in its own place. But you threw the supernatural part in there, and that's which made the book even better. And so, where did it come into balancing the difference between the real life horrors versus the supernatural horror? Was that a difficult balance, or was that something that really just struck its way as you were writing?
Yeah, it kind of flowed a little bit naturally because the real life horrors were not hard to write. Like they're unfortunately very real, and it wasn't like I didn't have to do a whole lot there. It
Yeah.
was just observing and then writing. So that part was a little bit easier. The supernatural stuff is kind of meant to be a foil for Camille's life and relationship, and without getting too much into it, it becomes obvious
Hmm.
throughout the book that the thing that we think is the horror is maybe not as horrible as her actual real life, and
Hmm.
like you said, the social media and her relationship with her husband and all of that. So it's sort of meant to be like, is it horror though? It's a little bit of that like man versus bear and like
Yeah.
dude versus monster kind of thing. Um, so yeah, it's sort of meant to come together in tandem to work alongside Camille's overall character journey and how she is at the beginning of the novel and how she becomes at the end.
Hmm.
And yeah, that was all pretty intentionally done. And I mean, there's a lot of horror. There's a lot of specifically body horror. Like I tell people to not read this book while they're eating, and I think that's valid. But yeah, I think people are already noting that the real horror of this is more of the like social horror.
I would also put in there, some sort of, if you're currently pregnant and you're having a trouble, like if you're having a
Yes.
rough pregnancy, do not read this book right now. Like my wife was pregnant twice. I've been through this side of things, and I'm like, I would not
Yeah.
have been able to A, read this while she was pregnant, or B, had her read it when she was pregnant. It's not like it's not horrendous, but I'm just saying, like, if you already are struggling with your, like, emotionally with your pregnancy, like, don't read this book yet. Wait till that. You're more than welcome to read it, but don't do it while you're pregnant, please.
Yeah, I think you have to be like a very specific kind of pregnant person to want to read.
Yes.
Like, I say that either pregnant people are either going to be like really into this book and be like, yeah, or they're going to be like, I cannot read this for like
No.
7 months, which is totally fine.
It's
I
fine.
get
This
it.
book's for everybody. It's all that, it's not everybody's not going to read everything, but yeah, I was just like, oh yeah, this is interesting. But yeah, it's the writing. Obviously, your writing style is very similar because it's you writing, but
Yeah.
this book is obviously different than Serial Killer Support Group. You mentioned that there's more body horror and stuff like that. Like Serial Killer Support Group is more like after the fact kind of thing. It's not like you're like following an actual serial killer murdering people. And you're seeing gruesome deaths all the time over and over again. This is more like there's actually some gruesomeness and some body horror in this novel. Do you enjoy writing both? Like, obviously, you enjoy writing your novels because it's your novels and you have stories. But like, is this like, did you have a lot of fun getting in there and being like, this is really disgusting and I want to do this?
Oh yeah, I mean, the serial killer support group is technically a thriller. I like to
Yeah.
say it's a horror if you squint at it.
Yeah.
And the Tradwife is firmly
Yeah.
horror.
Yeah.
But I write both. I write thrillers, I write horror. I enjoy writing both. I started writing thrillers like 10 years ago, so that's always going to be like kind of special to me. But horror is so fun and exciting because it gives you, I think, a lot more freedom,
Hmm.
which is exciting to play around with as an author. I none of my books are really for anybody who's looking for something super believable that's going to happen in real
Yeah,
life. So like,
yeah.
if that's your jam, maybe I'm not the author for you. But I think you do have to have some kind of like groundedness in thrillers for the
Hmm.
most part. And I like that in horror, you can just be totally unhinged and just be like, it's horror. I don't have
Yes.
to like really explain that to you. It is what it is. It's a creature who lives in a well. We're gonna just move on and
Yeah,
get to the
and
story part.
somehow impregnates a human woman. That's just the way how it works. It's funny. It's really you mentioned the squint at it to make it horror. You almost have to like thrillers, especially serial killer support group. Like if you squint at it, it's real. Like that kind of thing too. Where
Yeah.
it's like you have to have that like the moment where you're like, okay, this is not real. But for most of it, can be believable in my opinion. Like a thriller has that like
Yeah.
pseudo believability to it. Whereas horror, you're right. It's like you could do anything. There's moments, and then there's people who question it. Well, how is this possible? I'm like, well, it's a demon baby. Like how that's not real either. Like I don't know how to tell you right now. Like what's going on right now. It's the but that's what's cool about it. You have a little bit more freedom, like you said. It's a little bit different, and I'm guessing it makes your mind and muscles work differently writing each one. So you obviously have a busy year coming out with publicity on books and things like that. I don't know why you're doing this to yourself, but your other two books. I want to, I'm not going to jump to those yet, but like are they where do those fall in the pantheon of genres and things like that?
Yeah, so yeah, I have three books coming out this year. I have no patience, so I guess that's why I'm doing this to myself. But yeah, so the next one that comes out is a speculative thriller. So
Okay.
that's The Last Time We Drowned, and that comes out in June. And that one is a thriller, but there are some sort of like psychological elements to it where like there's maybe a ghost on this boat. So like stuff like that, where it's not horror, but there's still that same kind of horror element that I
Hmm.
think I have to all of my work. But it is firmly like a thriller.
Yeah.
And then the book that I have coming out in September, which is called A Thousand Monstrous Forms, that is solidly like a gothic, contemporary gothic horror. It's like a gender swapped Bluebeard retelling. So that one's very hard.
That's awesome. So I like that. So like, one of my favorite authors is Daniel Kraus, and Daniel has this ability to like write in like 17 different genres. Like it's just like he has horror novels, he has this, he has that, all these different things. War novels and things like that. And I love that. And I think that's what's cool about it is like getting your style of writing, but also in different things. So going back and forth between thriller and horror will happy with me. Is it gonna be weird in September? Okay, come September, that you went from March of 2025 being an unpublished novelist. Now you're here, and now all of a sudden, a year and a half later, you're gonna have four novels on the shelf.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've thought about this already. I've already had like my own little breakdown over this where it's like I went for like so many years working so hard and trying so hard to get published, and now at the end of next year I'll have four published books. It's just wild. I'm so grateful, but it's just like how quickly things can change. And I mean, it's great because I mean, I write fast. I like to get
Yeah.
things out fast. So I mean, I don't want to have three books coming out a year every year because I'm already extremely tired and
Yeah.
it's January. But it's been really exciting to see people like get excited about my stuff too. So it's been great.
Well, it's just funny is like if you think about it, someone comes to your bibliography like 18 months from now, they're gonna be like, oh, they have four novels. They might think that you've been
Yeah.
doing this for a long time, like physically
Yeah.
promoting books and things like that. When really it's only been like 18 months between book one and book four, which is pretty in remarkable in that sense. But it's also showing that serial killer support group was such a success that these people now want your books in their thing. So you had serial killers at Crooked Lane.
Yes.
Is Stradwife Crooked Lane too?
Yes. So
Yes.
Serial Killer Support Group, Tradwife, and A Thousand Monstrous
Okay.
Forms are
They're
Crooked
all
Lane
right.
books. And The Last Time We Drowned, which is the thriller,
Yeah.
is Cosmo Reads, which is the
Okay.
new imprint between Cosmopolitan Magazine and Source Books.
Okay. Yeah. So like so, but so obviously Crooked Lane knows because they see the numbers. But Cosmo was like, oh yeah, obviously Saratoga's got some hype behind them, and let's do something with them and do this book. I love it because it's like my wife might read The Last Time We Drowned. She's not gonna read Treadwife. Like she just doesn't read horror. It's just not gonna
That's
happen.
fair.
It's not gonna happen. But I think she actually would read last time we drowned, which is pretty cool. And I think I love that aspect when I can actually hand a book over. I've read,
Yeah.
I gave her Simultaneous from Eric Eisner last year, and I was like, hey, or earlier this year. I say it's technically last year because it was a couple weeks ago, but last year, and said, hey, read this, and she loved it, and I loved it, and it was great. So there's certain books where I'm like, yeah, I can read this, and there's other books where I'm like, no, she's not gonna, she's not gonna
Yeah.
read this book. And I'm glad that she'll have that ability to do that. But so Tradwife is coming out in at the end of or middle of February, February 10th. You're gearing up for it now. You're only a couple weeks away. What's the next couple of weeks going to be like for you? You're doing a tour? I heard, or some spots that you're doing that. But like, is there a lot of like other podcasts and interviews and things like that getting up to this, or is this a home stretch, or what's going on now?
Yeah, it's yeah, I think I have or had like 10 different interviews in the past, I don't know, 3 weeks or so. And I also have an event every month this year, with I think the exception of December. And like I said, it's only January. So yes, things are about to pop off. I do have a tour happening for Tradwife. It's mostly East Coast-ish,
Hmm.
like tri-state area kind
Yep.
of thing. New York City, upstate New York, Salem, Massachusetts. So I'll be traveling for a couple weekends in February to promote the book and to meet readers and just have fun. And yeah, so that's all happening. I also do work full time as well, so I'm juggling a lot right now, which has been very interesting. But yeah, it's been exciting to see the early support for Tradwife. So I'm really hopeful and excited that people are gonna like it and buy it, and hopefully my career has a little bit of a upward trajectory. That'd be great.
That would be great. That's I love that you mentioned that you work full time. It's like that is you have 4 books coming out, but that or 3 books coming out, 4 books total in 18 months. That's not people just assume like okay, serial killer support group came out, now you're all set, now you're a full time author, you can't do anything else. It's not the case for most people. I would say most people don't make an extreme living on that, and if it's not, then it's like them or their partner work together.
Yep.
And the partner makes a bunch more money so that we can,
Yep.
one person can do that, and that's okay. It's just that's the way it works. So hopefully, what I want is the ability for you to be able to write full time all the time, which would be great. But yeah, my bookstore, local bookstore, Briar Patch here in Bangor, Maine, is actually doing for our horror book club. They're actually doing Tradwife. I
No
believe in
way.
March. I believe it's March
Oh my
because he
God.
usually does it like the month after the book releases or right around that, which is pretty smart, which is really exciting because I love that idea of like a book that I get really excited for. I can either get to read again, or if I don't have time, I can't read it again, but I can at least have a conversation with people about it. It's hard sometimes with the number of books that I read in the genre that I'm in. I don't have a bunch of people who are reading horror novels with me, right? Like locally, most of my communications with people on the internet.
Yeah.
And so it's like every once in a while, I'm like, yeah, I read this book called Trap Wife. Cool. No one around me is ever going to read it. So that sucks because like they're all like into like Nicholas Sparks and or like superhero stuff and stuff like that. I'm like, cool. And then the one person reads it. I'm like, oh, I want to talk to you. Where are you? I'm like running after them, talk to me about it. But no, it's exciting to see a group. There's like 15 people in the group. We'll all read it. So there's 15 book sales for you.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Thank you.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. On your way to bestseller right now.
Yeah. Oh my God, I
But
love
no,
that.
that's cool. He Jabron's the owner. He usually messages me and was like, "You have any ideas?" And I didn't even bring it up. Like it was, I've been so incommunicado with him over the past couple of months because of busyness of life and things like that. And I saw that he sent me a message being like, "This is the books we're gonna read," and Tradwife was one of them. I'm like, "Geez, that's awesome. That's one of the ones I would have recommended. This is amazing." So it's exciting. I'm excited for that coming up here. I think in March. I didn't find the. I think I threw the flyer away yesterday. I gotta find it. But
Well,
yeah,
that's
that's great.
awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Um,
So Bangor, Maine is showing some love for Tradwife here in the Northeast for sure.
I love that. Thank you. You don't have to put this part in the podcast,
Yeah.
but if they're interested, they can reach out to Dolce at Crooked Lane, and they can, because they were doing this with another like bookstore book group where they're sending them signed book plates and like stickers. So if they're interested in that, like feel free to connect them
Yeah, absolutely.
with Dolce, and then I'm happy to send some signed stuff for
That'd
them
be
for
awesome.
that.
Yeah, it's really cool, and I've done that before. Actually, it's funny. I've actually done that. We've been my graphic novel book club that I'm part of. Some similar happens. Like when I talk to someone like this, there's a connection. They end up doing that same similar thing, which is really cool. I think people like that. I think it's like one of those things where like book clubs, you have so many books, but the one
Yeah.
that it has something like that in it is the one you tend to keep. and not
Right.
either sell to someone else or give to someone else. It's the one you put on a shelf. So like it's kind of like a, oh, this is pretty cool. Get to keep this on my shelf. But yeah, I'm a big person. Like I collect. I have too many books, and so to me, I'm
Yeah.
like, when the second it comes out, I'm gonna buy it anyway. And so it's gonna be exciting for Tradwife February 10th. But so Tradwife, it's a supernatural. So do you are you a fan of Rosemary's Baby? Is that like I'm like I mean, I'm a huge fan. I think the movie is phenomenal. I like the book a lot too, but like I think that it's one of my favorite horror stories. So I was happy to see that connection to this book. Is this something where you're coming from too?
Yeah, I haven't sat down and watched the whole movie because it's like 3 hours long and I just don't have the patience for that. But yes, the book is great. The movie is great. It's a little bit of an homage to it, but it's also extremely different
Yeah.
from Rosemary's Baby. It's also partially inspired by some of Guillermo del Toro's work,
Hmm.
especially The Shape of Water.
Hmm.
So that's kind of part of the inspiration of it too. You know, the concept of a demon baby is not an
Yes.
original idea. That's been around for a long time. I'm not claiming to be the originator of pregnant woman demon baby. Um, but I think it's such a fun trope and it's an interesting trope. So it was why I was attracted to
Yeah.
that aspect of it to begin with. But yeah, it's definitely like, I think we're calling it, my publisher's calling it like Rosemary's Baby for the digital age, which I
Mhm.
think is an apt description. Like if you enjoyed Rosemary's Baby, you'll probably like
Yeah.
this too.
Well, you don't want it to be exactly the same thing because that's not fun. But so like I like the idea they connected, and I do think there's certain publishers who can like connect books together like this and then they don't work. I'm like, what are they talking about? And sometimes it does work really well, and that does. And I think that the different, but Shape of Water and I guess what am I thinking? Oh, I always bring up Howard the Duck. I don't know if you've ever seen the Howard the Duck movie from the 80s that was based on the comic book character. But it's got Leah Thompson in it from Back to the Future and things like that. And so she's like gets in bed with a like a humanoid duck and like she's implying that she's falling for him, and I'm like, okay, what is going on here? Like, this is just, I don't want human duck hybrid. Like, I don't know how this would work. And the same thing with Shape of Water. Like, it's like you're like falling for a monster. How is this gonna work? It's not that like that's not the creepiness that's in this. It's a different creepiness that's in
Right.
this movie. But yeah, like to me, I'm like, I don't know. It's just there's a different reason behind it too. I think that there's like the falling for the other creature and the result of what would happen if you did. That's more what Tradwife's about. Like you want the baby, not the intimate relationship with another creature. uh, but yeah, but it's what's cool about it. I think it's like I said, there's this supernatural element to it that for the most part you can believe it, and then the supernatural element kind of takes you out of that, which is really cool. And you feel so much for Camille, like like in multiple avenues, like multiple things. You're like, I just want to be there to support Camille right now. But I also want to shake her at the same time and be like, can you
Yeah.
get your head out of the thing? And that's what social media does to people. And I think it's so crazy. And that's one of the things that I sit back and I want to start my own Instagram profile saying, all of you people are crazy, not just a specific avenue of people, but you're all, I hate to use the word crazy, but like, you're all just sucked into this thing that just is so bad, but so good in sometimes too. Because like without social media, the situation that's happening in Minneapolis wouldn't be as like we would be
Yeah.
believing the lies that are out there. We wouldn't see for our
Yeah.
own eyes. So it's like you need it, but we also hate it. It's so
Yeah.
bad.
It's so interesting because it's such a tool to like mobilize and support and like connect with your community, but then it's also a great way to like get entrenched in
Mhm.
really stupid arguments that really don't matter and that are distracting from the actual issues.
Mhm.
So it's just such a double-edged sword. And I'm just very fascinated with social media in general. And part of that is because I have worked in social media management before. So I have kind of that professional mindset of it. Part of it is because for many years I was, essentially a sober lifestyle micro
Mhm.
influencer. So I was kind of enmeshed in that aspect of it too. And so I've seen like kind of different sides of it. And it's just been very interesting to see how people react, no matter what community or lifestyle you're kind of like engaging with. It's the same sort of stuff over and over again. And it's just, it's just so weird. And I just can't, again, I could write many books
Yes.
about this. And in fact, the thriller I have coming out is
It's
also
social
about
media.
social
Yeah.
media because it's just, there's so much to explore there. And I think it's very hard to say definitively if it's bad or good because we see it being
Yeah.
able to help people. And then we also see it, causing part of the downfall of civilization. So it's very tricky. And
It,
it's just something we need to be aware of.
Yeah, and I think having the awareness of it is a big thing because I in my previous life I worked as a marketing director for a church, and one of the discussions we had over and over again was whether or not our ad should be in the newspaper anymore because we were paying for it, and we're like, well, if we take it out, does that immediately assume those people who think that read the newspaper that we're not there anymore? Like, is it one of those
Mm-hmm.
things like I always feel like that with social media nowadays is that like if you're not on social media, how are you going to promote your book or tell people about events and how you kind of need it to do the job you're doing, but also don't want it to take over your life and things like that. And I think the big thing is to me, the biggest thing is someone can say something on the internet now, and if a couple of people believe it and share it, it's now truth. And that's the big thing to me, and that's where we're going on. Huge to me right now is like there's just so many lies and misinformation being spread on social media because people with influence are saying things without actually having the facts to back them up, and they can just say whatever they want and no one stops them. And that's I think where I think the biggest thing is it's freedom of speech, but in the same sense it's just dangerous as hell. It's just really dangerous, and I think it's dangerous for people's psyche and dangerous for people's physical health at some point, and I think it's crazy.
Yeah, and I mean that's not even getting into the AI stuff
No,
and people who are posting AI pictures and AI videos and like you can't trust anything
no.
anymore and it's awful. So yeah, it's
uh,
it's we're watching stuff kind of evolve in real time and it's getting
yes.
more and more dystopian and it's just
Yes.
it's crazy.
I'll tell you, I hate the fake bad things about AI, but I'm also annoyed with AI videos of like car crashes. Like to me, I'm like scrolling through Instagram and there's like a car sliding into another car, and it's like that doesn't look real. I'm like, it's AI. God damn it! I don't want to see this anymore. Why? I want real stuff. I don't want the stupid fake stuff that looks so bad. That why are you even publishing this? But yeah, it's that, and so that is Tradwife. It's an unhealthiness that Camille has to this trying to be a specific person for other people and less caring about what Camille actually wants or deserves or is healthy. And her absentee of sorts husband who doesn't really see. It's like he has his blinders on, and so that's what forces her to do what she does, and it becomes horrific. And I think that it's a great sophomore novel. I will say, you're killing it out there, and I'm
Thank you.
excited for people to get it. February 10th at bookstores everywhere, and it's this will come out February 4th. So you have a week before the book comes out, which will be great. To go to your local bookstore, get it. If they don't get it, tell them to get it. And bookshop.org is a place that I send people a lot because that helps support local bookstores. And I'm guessing there's an audiobook coming, right? Yes, there is an audiobook. I just
Yep.
saw it actually come up on NetGalley. I almost sent a picture to you being like, I'm so tempted to just to read it, to listen to it too, right? But yeah, it's an audiobook. So grab that. That's at Libro FM, which is amazing because that also helps
Yep.
local bookstores as well, doing that stuff too. So, and then anywhere you're at in the tri-state area, like you mentioned, go meet Saratoga. They're amazing.
Yeah. I would love to meet people. And if you do order the book before it comes out on the 10th, you can submit your receipt. So you can order it anywhere, any your favorite
Yeah.
indie, your favorite retailer, and then submit your receipt to marketing at crookedlanebooks.com and they will send you a free signed book plate and a sticker sheet.
There you go. That's awesome. I love that stuff. I actually have a bookmark, I think from Daniel Kraus or Whalefall for that. That has like Daniel Kraus signed a bunch of like bookmarks to do that with too, which is really cool. But yeah, and honestly, a lot of places if you pre-order it, you might not have to pay for it until you pick it up. So like, it's not hurting you to just go to a place and be like, "Can I pre-order this book?" And they'll write your name down or whatever. But if you want this receipt thing, pay for it so you have a receipt that shows that you
Yeah.
paid for it. But yeah, February 10th, and then so quickly, we're gonna wrap it up here pretty quickly. But like the last time we drowned is in June, and that you mentioned is a speculative thriller. Do you want to give a quick synopsis? Because that's something you could pre-order now as well. So I would like to get people on that.
Yes. Yes, you can pre-order it now. The cover is up. You can find it on my website, saratogaschaefer.com. The Last Time We Drowned is a thriller about a bookstagrammer who joins an elite group of influencers on a yacht, but gets trapped on board by a hurricane. And she begins to think that one of these influencers is a murderer. So it's very fun. It's very locked room. It's very kind of like luxury turned dark. So it's a great summer read, even though it's kind of creepy. So I definitely recommend checking it out.
The cover fits that so much. Like when I saw the cover come out, I'm like, that fits that style of book so much. It looks just like it looks like it fits in that category, which is amazing. I love it.
Yeah, totally.
It's so awesome. And that's available again, bookstores everywhere, so you can check that out. That's June 2nd. That book drops, and then you have 1,000 Monstrous Forms coming out in September. Horror novel. You mentioned you have no covers out for that yet, but what's that about?
Yeah, so I've seen cover sketches and it's really cool. So I can't wait to share. But it's about a ceramic artist who moves into her new wife's manor house in upstate New York, and she starts to suspect that the house is haunted. And this one, again, this is a Bluebeard retelling. So if you know the story of Bluebeard, you might know where this is going. If you don't and you don't want to be spoiled, you can just go in blind. But it's very creepy, it's very dark, it's very kind of moody, and it's very sapphic. So I hope people like it. It's going to be fun.
That's awesome. I can't, like I said, you're going to go from like, okay, cool, try to wife's out. Damn it,
Yeah.
I got it. The last time I tried, and then you're gonna be like, last time I tried, and then so hopefully, like you mentioned, you're not doing anything in December. Hopefully, in December, you just take a month off and just don't do it.
Yeah, right.
But I'm excited. This is so pumped, and it's one of those things that like I'm excited because it gives me the authors that I'm fans of and like their writing. It gives me something to look forward to. Whereas there's other authors, I'm like, when is their next book gonna come out? And so this is like, at least for people who are huge fans of yours, like they have some reading to do. They have some reading to do this year, and they're spaced out enough. This is not like you have a book coming out June 2nd and one, June 15th or July 2nd. Right. This is like there's 6 months or so, 5 or 6 months in between these. Like you have some time.
Yeah, I'm feeding you every 6 months or so. So it's good. I think it's a good amount of time between each.
Gives yourself to because you're going to need some time to relax after reading Tradwife people. You're going to need some time to just breathe, and you're going to need to go from Tradwife to reading like a Nicholas Sparks novel, like I mentioned. You need that, you need that separation from the body horror that happens in this book. No, it's amazing. February 10th at bookstores everywhere. Saratoga, I'm so thankful that you came back on here and chatted with us, and thanks for moving around and stuff like that too. My son's doing great. He was sick, but he's doing great now. And then other stuff happened. Yeah, so it's craziness. Winter in Maine. It's just sicknesses, frozen pipes, snow. It's just we asked for it, right? It's
the whole thing.
The whole thing.
Well, thank you for having me back.
Absolutely, and we're looking forward to it. And check out, I said February 10th, and then June 2nd. So get The Last Time We Drowned pre-ordered as well. Please, people, I haven't read it yet. I'm excited. I'm waiting eagerly here. Just let me know when you want me to read it, because I can read it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much, Saratoga. Have a great day, and thank you so much for coming on. We'll get you back on at some time in the future. So maybe at the end of the year, we'll get you back on to check 2 different novels.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.